This is the uh, CAD program I've been working on. Obviously, it's not to scale, but this is sort of what I'm going to be looking at. Um, the ball screws the right size, the mount, everything, for the most part, is the correct size. Now, doing this allows me to see a couple of things. Basically, I can already foresee a couple of problems. Uh, for instance, let's get rid of some of this stuff here. See, you've got these screws back here. That one's not tight, but because of these screws, this is going to be where that steel plate is. So this stainless block, so unless these screws are embedded into this plate, which this plate isn't very thick, I'm using panhead screws to try to compensate for it, but it's still going to be a little tricky. I might end up having to go with a bigger plate, a thicker plate, which is why I ended up making these adjustable so I can bring this over this way farther, so I can use a thicker plate. The original plan was to use 1/4 inch thick, either steel or aluminum. Didn't matter really which. Hopefully whatever I had on hand at the time. Anyway, this is what I'm working on now. We'll see what happens. This is the part, or one of the parts, I've 3D printed. This is going to hold the ball screw nut. I don't know what you call it. Basically, this is going to go on the side of the machine. But everything lines up good. I 3D printed the template. So now I need two, one for each side. So ultimately, now I'm going to go through and use the CNC mill to drill it out of steel. Make it a little more rigid. There's 2 1/4 inch plates in there. Figure I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone and just do them both at the same time. I finished these. These are for this. Countersunk because I'm going to have a plate going over the top. Those are the rails and ball screw. That is for the Y-axis? I don't know. I keep getting these things mixed up. But anyway, the blocks are complete. So now to make the plate that's going to go from top to bottom. All right, I got these drilled and tapped. These are M8s. This isn't the final plate I'm going to use, but this is a 1/4 inch thick, 6 inch by 10 inch. And basically, all this is going to kind of look like, if you will, is these go on here. And this will go on here. You know, lined up, of course. So next up, I've got to drill the holes for this plate for the Z-axis. That's the next step. I got this all drilled out. This is now the Y-axis for the plasma table / router table. So this is all set. Looks pretty good. Now I have to work on mounting it, of course, and then I've got to work on the Z-axis, which, gotta be honest, not really sure what I'm gonna do yet. I'm still toying with things in my head. A lot of the stuff I have seems very large for this. Just too beefy. So I actually might have to get something a little smaller for this, or purchase something else, the whole unit. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Anyway, this is where I'm at right now. I'm going to try to get this mounted up and get this ball screw adjusted. I got to get it cut to length. It's obviously way too long right now, but for some unknown reason, the longer one was cheaper. So I just bought the longer one, figuring I'd cut it down to size. All right, see you guys in a bit. Thinking about going in a little bit of a different direction here. I was gonna mount these directly to the square too, but now I'm thinking I should probably get a plate, like an 8 inch wide, 3/16 thick or 1/4 inch plate to go the length in between here and mount these on top of the plate. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. All right, Y-axis is, no, X-axis, dang it. X-axis is done. So basically, all that's left now is the Z. And I think I know what I'm gonna do for it. I ordered some hardware, so everything on here will be flush mounted. I can't stick with these originals. They stick up way too far. So I'm gonna order some of those panhead screws, and then I'll put a bevel on this steel. And then I think I'm gonna stick with the same linear rail. I think I'm gonna cut down 2 of these to the right length. for my Z-axis, rather than use this style, although it's lower profile. I haven't decided fully yet. This is what we're making. We're doing these first. Then I'll do this. I'll drill these 4 holes, and then I'll do the outside profile. I was just going over my table, and it just dawned on me that I forgot something, and it's something important. I can't believe I did this, but hopefully you guys, if ever anybody watches this video and is making their own table, they don't make the same mistake that I just did. I didn't compensate for the fact that the Z is going to be in the table, so none of this back here is going to be usable for cutting area. I should have went a bit longer with these so I could move the gantry back to utilize the whole table. You know, it didn't even dawn on me at the time when I was building this. The front's obviously going to be fine, but when it comes time to do the back, there's going to be a lot of space that's not going to be usable. Anyway, food for thought is what it is. Too late to turn back now, but like I said, if anybody in the future is going to build one of these, keep that in mind. I'm trying to cut this in half on my bandsaw, and it was barely touching it. I'm sure I could probably use the abrasive cutoff saw, but I'd really like to keep this as nice as possible, since this is going to be the linear rail for this. So I'm going to bring this to work Tuesday, and I'm just going to use, they've got a carbide blade at work on the bandsaw. It's carbide tipped, which should make short work of this hardened steel. So I'm going to wait till then. It'll postpone my project a little bit. I was hoping to get some more done, but I have to wait for hardware anyway, so it is what it is. Alrighty, well, where to start? I considered using the 3D printed brackets for the stepper motors, and when I went to try it, it flexed way too much. So I made it out of steel. This is a 1/4-inch plate. As you can tell, template came out pretty good. I've got to make one more. Unfortunately, about 1/4 of the way through, I started getting problems with my code, and I didn't know what was happening. Something I haven't really dealt with before. And then this thing just kind of crapped out. This is my CNC controller. This is a more expensive one than I actually purchased in hopes to solve a lot of the problems that I was having, and to be honest, it didn't. But it is what it is. I put an old CNC controller back in, one of my cheaper $20 ones, and lo and behold, I ran it for 8 hours today and there was no problems. So I was able to finish this and a few other things. So tomorrow I'm going to print another bracket like this, and I will mill another bracket like this, and I'm going to start milling these out also tomorrow, and that'll probably cover it for this weekend as far as what I'm going to be able to do. I ran out of argon for welding gas, so I'm a little bit out of the water there, so I got to pick up some next week, but what can you do? Anyway, talk to you guys later. Enjoy your weekend. Oh yeah, duh. Happy 4th.